No kidding. The live American Trump show is becoming increasingly interesting, with hints of today's package.
Yeah, what you're seeing is the aftermath of an artist pulling up outside the Manhattan Criminal Court and releasing dozens of wee-wee-shaped balloons with the faces of DA Alvin Bragg, Judge Juan Merchan.
With his MAGA supporters having been silent for so long, it seemed like Thursday, May 16th was destined to be the day when the difference was made.
He would post later that the courthouse is completely closed down, which it is not, suggesting that the poor turnout was a plot against his support.
A few weeks prior, the former president subtly requested a protest, alleging that the legal process was excessively strict and closed off from the public. Court officials have refuted these claims in public statements and through media reports.
Good for you. You're on the wrong side. 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 I'm with you. Get out of here, you old bag of bird.
The unexpected outpouring of support and protest a few days ago was met with nothing but shock value, and many Republicans believe that it was the right move to relieve the pressure from the former president.
This U-Haul just let out dozens of balloons with whose face? Judge Juan Merchan. We saw a couple of Alvin Bragg.
Oh, Jeff Smith.
Oh no. Oh my God.
It's all different faces. I do.
Although the support's context may seem casual, it's important to consider it, as it may have the opposite effect on the former president.
This U-Haul just let out dozens of balloons with...
It's a complicated splash with vast disparities between the perpetrators and the actions carried out.
For great Americans, people that want to come down and they want to protest at the court and they want to protest peacefully, we have more police presence here than anyone's ever seen. For blocks, you can't get near this court.
With no teenagers on the grounds outside the court walls, there have been the weirdest, wildest reactions and scenes outside the Manhattan courthouse.
I love it. Flying pigs out of all the courthouse. Look at this. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Perfect timing. Oh, shit.
The risque balloons featuring officials like Alvin Bragg and Juan Merchan serve only to highlight the Republicans and their supporters' naivete and low moral ground.
Whose face is over? Somebody's face is over. Can't make this shit up.
Now that Manhattan's roadways have witnessed the characteristics and bravado of being a Republican and a MAGA, the only remaining question is whether or not such a move was rational.
They kept going. Oh, it's Alvin Bragg's face on the balloons. Oh, some of them at least. Not big for that. Alvin Bragg and the other two. Can't make it up. Everybody's recording, so it's easy.
The Real Men Wear Diapers rally in support of Donald Trump adds yet another epic hue to the already fascinating drama. However, it's undeniably a poor match with the Balloon Fest and adds further strain to the ongoing children's drama. It all paints an embarrassing picture for the former president rather than an aid, though politicians are the best at understanding these types of games. We've seen far worse strategies garner supporters over time.
So I've been using the peppy little phrase, slow-moving coup, since before Trump got elected. And here's the next phase that happened this week. I don't know if you saw this in the paper or wherever you get your news, but the Republicans have been showing up at the trial dressed like Trump. Well, I know, it's all funny until it's the law. J.D. Vance was there, Vivek Ramaswamy, Tommy Tuberville, the head of the House, Mike Johnson, Matt Gaetz. No wonder Trump falls asleep in the trial. He's counting his sheep. Lauren Boebert also showed up, but only because she heard one of the juries was hung. Speaking of catfights, did you see what happened there at the House Oversight Committee had a hearing, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's Republican and white, got into it with Democrat Jasmine Crockett, who's Democratic and black, and Jasmine Crockett said Marjorie Taylor Greene was a bleached blonde, bad-built butch body. And somewhere in a tree, one of the Keebler elves said, somebody just burned a cracker.
It's not shocking that Congress members are dressing exactly like the popular political figure, especially given the rumors that Donald Trump is looking for a vice president for his campaign. To put it simply, the Republican members of Congress who are involved in the Red Tie Brigade faction are aligned with Trump, his trials, and any violations of gag orders, as their candidate is unable to perform such duties. Such acts by Republican officials and supporters, embarrassing and disparaging prosecutors, witnesses, and even the judge's daughter, remain unsettling in a convoluted legal scenario.
And meanwhile, among the atrocities here, the judge's own daughter is making millions of dollars doing online fundraising for Democrats.
Here comes the question. Were such uncultured acts a victory for Trump or an embarrassment to him?
Trump just went away, this would all go away as well. They do not want him to be in this race. They know that he is the #1 candidate for president of the United States for the 2024 election.
As reported in the media, the individuals embroiled in tainting the trial, even going as far as taking selfies, were not far-fetched from criminal involvements. This could be an additional devastating blow to Trump and the Republicans' reputations.
Lauren Boebert from Colorado took time out of her day, time out of her schedule, and spent the money to go to New York City to support Donald Trump during his trial. My question is, why are you not supporting your own son in his criminal proceedings? Let's not forget that Lauren's oldest son, Tyler, was of course recently apprehended, arrested, and indicted on multiple felony accounts in the state of Colorado for...
It was impossible to ignore the criminal ties each of these candidates had, which is a statement that is rather unfair given everyone's right to engage anywhere.
We've learned they have also...
Lauren Boebert, the mother of the burglar son, is just one of several characters in the scene, including Anna Paulina Luna, a stripper-turned-congresswoman, and Matt Gaetz, who is under investigation for pedophilia.
That sometimes when you're accused of something, it's actually the people accusing you.
Given the current level of free expression in the world, such statements directed at GOP members are unsurprising. However, it may be unfair to continue digging into negatives that are diametrically opposed to the situation at hand.
But as far as Matt Gaetz himself, you got to think about this guy. This is a guy that the media didn't give a time of day to after he was accused of sleeping with an underage girl. And there's a reason why no one in the conference came and defended him, because we had all seen the videos he was showing on the House floor that all of us had walked away of the girls that he had slept with. He'd brag about how he would crush ED medicine and chase it with with an energy drink so he could go all night. This is obviously.
In this clip, Senator Markwayne Mullin's remark about Matt Gaetz not only harms his image by slandering a fellow Republican congressman, but also embarrasses the top haywire party of 2024.
And in response, I don't think Markwayne Mullin and I have said 20 words to each other on the House floor. This is a lie from someone who doesn't know me and who's coping with the death of the political career of his friend Kevin.
But as this clip shows, Matt Gaetz responds, defending both himself and his position in the case. All these matters tie into the main case, which is Donald Trump's hush money court trial, or what he calls the Biden show. The ongoing criticism of Lauren Boebert's involvement in the legal matter, despite her son's standing in the courts and her inability to pay for legal representation, lends further unease to the whole predicament.
It's the biggest obstacle in between them destroying this country and turning it into some totalitarian state, and that's what they want. Just like this judge up here.
Is there any justification for the Republicans and Make America Great Again supporters' response? Given that it was Trump who asked them to take action, should he also be held accountable for these numerous crude outbursts?
Resource for certain people at like fairs and things like that.
In addition to the numerous amounts of unsatisfactory conduct, their use of pee funnels in the Manhattan court setting and general mess-making were questioned, adding to the overall juvenile epic that was on exhibit all day.
Of our President Trump sleeping, as you say, I think he's praying. But if he is sleeping, you know, certainly looks pretty while he sleeps.
Despite her previous negative viewpoint, the young congresswoman succeeds in providing a humorous response when the subject of Trump sleeping in court comes up.
It's not as exciting as the House Oversight Committee, but I just wanted to say that's a lovely picture you have of President Trump, Mr. Garcia. Thank you. And I yield.
Her reactions and response only strengthen the argument that the Manhattan court trial was more of a classic show than a real-life serious situation.
Now, here we have a photo of Donald Trump, of course, through some of his trial. And I bring this up because it's Donald Trump.
Considering the photos, it's possible that Trump was simply closing his eyes and possibly even praying as the young congresswoman spoke. But the reports don't support that theory.
During moment of prayer, though, I know when I fall asleep on airplanes, you know, my mouth kind of drops open. And, you know, his mouth is kind of tight-lipped, so maybe.
Lauren's insightful and humorous closing remarks only serve to confirm the Republicans' perception of this court case as being laughably bad and unremarkable.
By and not show my support for the all-caps greatest president of all time.
Just a few days ago, it appeared that Trump was losing the noise, and there were even reports of his family ditching him during the trials. But this is an epic turn of events, for better or worse.
Courtroom today, and I could see why someone would fall asleep, just like George Conway fell asleep today in the court hearing. You know, it's.
In one of Lauren's remarks, she makes reference to George Conway, another Trump ally who, like Cohen, has recently turned against him.
This is after this picture was published in the New York Times showing an upside-down American flag flying outside of Alito's house just days after the January 6th attack on the Capitol. The flag displayed that way is widely seen as a symbol of the so-called Stop the Steal movement that claims without any evidence that President Joe Biden did not win.
Last but not least, the Republican Party's Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito had his inverted flag from the pre-Biden inauguration revisited, which he used to signal a rebellion as a result of a stolen mandate.
Justice Alito says he had no involvement and that it was his wife who did it in response to a neighbor's allegedly offensive.
His denial and blaming of his wife characterized the strange behavior of the Republican Party. Although many still support the Republicans, many are fighting for a return to normalcy in the country without the Republican banner.
This guy.
Just what more can we expect from this American box office special as we wrap up today's segment? Embarrassing for prosecutors, witnesses, and the judge with his daughter, as well as hysterical drama from members of Congress, and much more. What are your thoughts on all the wild activities carried out by MAGA supporters and Republicans? And do you think Trump should be held accountable for them? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments section. We can be certain that we will be paying close attention to additional details on the show. More promises about the Trump case and all the attention-grabbing drama, because we're not going to stop here. This courtroom drama features more than just a dropped gavel. Stay tuned, we'll be back.